Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We've got some really cool stuff to dig into today. From self-driving cars that learn like we do, to Brazil becoming like a digital powerhouse, and even a legal battle that could totally change the tech industry as we know it.
Wow, that sounds like a fascinating mix.
Yeah, so first up, we're going to take a ride with this company, Wayve. They're approaching self-driving cars in a totally different way. So you know how most companies are all about loading up their cars with sensors and crazy expensive hardware? Well, Wayve is we're focusing on the brain.
Really? It's a
Well,
pretty fascinating approach. So instead of relying on all those pre-programmed rules, Wave's actually building an AI that learns from real-world driving experiences. I mean, imagine a car that actually gets better at driving the more it's on the road.
yeah, and they're not testing this thing out on some quiet suburban streets either. They're throwing this AI right into the chaos of San Francisco. Can you imagine? That's got to be one of the most challenging environments for a self-driving car.
Exactly. If their AI can handle San Francisco, it can handle pretty much anything. This focus on adaptability is key to achieving full autonomy. And get this, they're actually gathering data from 15 countries. So this AI is learning from a seriously diverse range of driving experiences.
Is this AI basically learning to drive like a teenager then? Making mistakes and improving over time?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And here's the really interesting part. Uber's investing in them. Over $200 million in funding. Makes you wonder what they're planning for the future of ride-sharing, right?
For sure. All right, let's switch gears and head south to Brazil. This might surprise you, but they're becoming a rising star in the digital economy.
Yeah, it's true. Brazil's had its share of economic challenges, but that actually kind of pushed them toward adopting technology in a big way. Businesses were desperate to find efficiencies, and that really sparked a wave of automation.
Right, and Brazilians have this entrepreneurial spirit that fuels innovation. It's the perfect recipe for a digital boom. And Google's definitely noticed.
Oh, absolutely. Google's been in Brazil for almost 20 years now. They've really integrated themselves into the culture there, building trust with the public and becoming a key player in their digital landscape.
Fabio Coelho, Google's president in Brazil, he had some really interesting things to say about this. He sees Brazilian businesses embracing AI to boost productivity. And I think that's a trend we're seeing globally.
It is, but it's also important to note that Brazil's not just blindly adopting AI. They're doing it thoughtfully. Their Marco Civil da Internet. It's this collaborative set of internet regulations, and it's celebrating its 10th anniversary. It's a model for how governments can work with citizens and businesses to shape the digital world responsibly.
So we've got self-driving cars learning on the wild streets of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And Brazil quietly becoming a digital powerhouse. Now buckle up, because we're about to enter the legal arena for a showdown between Qualcomm and Arm.
Oh yeah, this one's all about licensing agreements. It might sound a little dry, but trust me, it's got major implications for the entire tech world.
So Qualcomm bought this company called Nuvia. It was founded by some of the same people who designed Apple's super powerful M1 chip. So Qualcomm's basically trying to leverage that expertise to build even better chips.
Right. But to do that, they need a specific type of license from Arm. Arm designs the underlying architecture for a lot of these chips. Think of it like this. If you want to build a house, you need blueprints. Arm holds the blueprints, and Qualcomm needs permission to use them in a particular way.
Okay, so where's the conflict?
Well, there are different types of blueprints, or licenses in this case. A technology license lets you use the design as is, but an architectural license gives you more freedom to customize and modify it. Qualcomm wants that architectural license, but Arm's worried they'll end up paying less in royalties if they switch to that type of agreement.
So it's kind of like a landlord trying to raise the rent on a tenant. Arm wants to protect its revenue, and Qualcomm wants more freedom to innovate, but maybe at a lower cost.
Exactly. And to make things even more dramatic, Arm decided to pull the plug on the existing license right before they were supposed to go to court.
Whoa. Talk about a power move. But Qualcomm's not backing down. They're saying they already have a license that covers the technology they need. So now it's a legal battle to see whose interpretation of the agreement holds up.
And this isn't just about Qualcomm and Arm. The outcome of this case could set a precedent for licensing agreements across the entire tech industry. It could impact how companies innovate, how much they pay for technology rights, and ultimately what kind of tech products we see in the future.
This is getting juicy. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But for now, let's take a break and we'll be back with more tech deep dives in part 2.
Welcome back to our deep dive into all the latest tech happenings. I'm still thinking about that Qualcomm and Arm showdown. The stakes are so high.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It makes you realize just how much legal stuff goes on behind the scenes in tech. But speaking of high stakes, let's talk about something a little more like tangible. Foldable phones.
Foldable phones. Oh, yeah. I remember when those first came out, everyone was so skeptical.
Me too. They were so clunky and expensive.
Hmm.
But I've been seeing a lot of buzz about the newest models. What's changed?
Well, the technology's gotten a lot better. We're seeing thinner designs, more durable hinges, and displays that are practically seamless. It's a whole new ballgame.
So are foldable phones finally ready for like the mainstream?
I think we're getting close. Prices are starting to come down, and we're seeing way more companies getting into the market, which means more competition and innovation.
Speaking of competition, one company that's really impressed me is Honor. Their new Magic V2 is turning heads. It's incredibly thin and light.
It's amazing how far they've come. When it's folded, the Magic V2 is actually thinner than some regular smartphones, and it weighs less than 9 ounces. That's incredibly light for a foldable device.
So they've basically like solved the bulkiness issue that those early foldable phones had.
Exactly. Honor has made major advancements in hinge design and the materials they use. So the Magic V2 folds almost completely flat, and that dreaded crease in the screen, you can barely even see it.
Okay, let's be honest. The real draw of a foldable phone is that bigger screen, right?
You got it. And the Magic V2 does not disappoint. When it's unfolded, it has a 7.92-inch OLED display, perfect for watching movies, playing games, or multitasking with multiple apps.
All right, I'm sold. But how much is all this foldable magic and it cost me?
Well, the Magic V2 does have a pretty high price tag. It starts at around $13,350.
Oof, so still a bit of a splurge. But I guess that's to be expected for cutting-edge technology.
It is, but like we saw with early smartphones, as production ramps up and competition increases, we can expect those prices to come down.
That makes sense. So foldable phones, especially ones like the Honor Magic V2, they give us a glimpse into a future where our devices can like adapt to different situations and needs. It's like having a tablet and a smartphone all rolled into one.
And that's just the beginning. Who knows what other foldable innovations are on the horizon? Foldable laptops, tablets that transform into smartphones, maybe even foldable everything.
Foldable everything. I love it. But for now, let's come back down to earth for a minute. Let's talk about something that's a little less flashy, but equally important. Energy storage.
Specifically, let's talk about sodium-ion batteries. They've been getting a lot of attention lately, especially for renewable energy and electric vehicles.
I gotta admit, sodium-ion batteries don't sound quite as exciting as foldable phones. But I'm sensing there's more to this story than meets the eye. What makes them so special? I mean, we already have lithium-ion batteries, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job.
Lithium-ion batteries are great, but they do have some downsides. Lithium is a pretty rare and expensive metal, and the mining process can be really bad for the environment. There are also concerns about whether it will have enough lithium in the long term, as demand for electric vehicles and other battery-powered devices keeps growing.
So sodium-ion batteries are like the eco-friendly alternative.
No, yeah, in a way, sodium is way more abundant and cheaper than lithium, and we can get it from seawater, which makes it a much more sustainable resource. Plus, sodium-ion batteries can work in a wider range of temperatures, which is a big advantage for electric vehicles and grid-scale energy storage.
Okay, I'm starting to see why people are excited about this.
Yeah.
But are sodium-ion batteries actually like ready to compete with lithium-ion in terms of performance?
That's the million-dollar question. Historically, sodium-ion batteries haven't been as good as lithium-ion when it comes to energy density, meaning they couldn't store as much energy in the same amount of space.
But I've been hearing about some breakthroughs in sodium-ion battery technology.
You're right. Researchers have been making some really impressive strides in improving energy density. Some experts think they could eventually reach or even surpass the energy density of lithium-ion batteries. Imagine a world where electric vehicles and renewable energy systems are powered by cheap, abundant, and sustainable sodium-ion batteries.
That's a pretty amazing thought. And it's not just for electric vehicles and renewable energy, right? Sodium-ion batteries could also change the game for portable electronics power tools. Pretty much anything that uses batteries.
Exactly. It's a reminder that sometimes the most important innovations aren't the flashiest or the most talked about. They're happening behind the scenes, quietly shaping the future in ways we might not even realize.
And that's why we love doing these deep dives. It's all about uncovering those hidden gems of innovation. But before we get too carried away, we've got one more story to explore. Stick with us for the final part of our deep dive. We'll be taking a closer look at the world of artificial intelligence. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. We've gone from the crazy streets of San Francisco to labs where they're like building the future of batteries. But we can't wrap things up without talking about Hmm. I guess you could say the AI and the algorithm.
Yeah, artificial intelligence is definitely a topic we need to talk about, especially with all these large language models popping up everywhere.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right? We've got ChatGPT and Bard that can write text code, even music. It's a lot to take in.
It is. It's a totally transformative technology.
Hmm.
These large language models are trained on huge amounts of data, like text and code, and that lets them understand and generate language like we do, in ways we never thought possible.
But with all this power come a lot of questions too, right? Some people are excited about what we can do with it, but others are worried about the risks.
Yeah, you gotta approach this tech with a mix of enthusiasm and caution. Large language models could revolutionize so many industries, from education and healthcare to customer service and entertainment.
But we can't just ignore the potential problems, right?
Mhm.
What about bias in these AI systems?
Mhm.
Or the spread of misinformation? And what about jobs that could be automated by these tools?
Yeah, those are all super important questions we need to figure out as a society. Like with any powerful technology, we gotta consider the ethics and make sure we're developing and using AI responsibly.
So where do we go from here? It feels like we're just at the beginning of this AI revolution. What does the future hold for these large language models?
Well, I think we're going to see AI tools that are even more powerful and advanced. Tools that can not only understand and generate language, but also reason, learn, and solve really complex problems.
It's exciting and kind of scary at the same time. We're talking about tech that could totally change how we live and work and interact with the world.
It's true, the future's full of possibilities. But it's our responsibility to steer AI development in a direction that benefits everyone. That's the real challenge. And it's going to take open communication, collaboration, and a willingness to adapt as the tech keeps changing.
You're right, we can't just sit back and watch. We need to be part of shaping the future of AI.
Exactly. The future's not something that just happens to us. It's something we create together.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this such an amazing time to be alive. We have the power to use these incredible tech advancements to solve some of the world's biggest problems and build a brighter future for everyone.
Well said. I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. We covered a ton today, from self-driving cars and foldable phones to the crazy potential of AI. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the articles we talked about. And let us know what you think on social media. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the amazing world of technology.